So you want to know one good thing about the Atari VCS being discontinued? I now actually have a reason to finally do that review because people will give a crap because the console's being discontinued. Now it'll actually get views, maybe. All right, news time. Let's talk about this thing because I've been following the Atari box, like it was originally called, since the beginning. And now it's done. Very interesting saga. Skip it up and that up.
Ooh, yeah.
So let's go back to June of 2017. I remember recording this video in a place I used to live a long time ago, over 5 years ago. And this is the first trailer that Atari showed. Take a look. Now, that was a bizarre thing to see, especially if you're older than me, actually. You're seeing, wow, Atari's coming out with a new console. Now, this was knee-deep in the 8th generation. It was 2017, so it was a surprise to see Atari, even though it's not the same. Let me try that again. Even though it's not the same Atari that made the Atari 2600. Oh, wow, look. And they even made it look like a modern version of the Atari 2600. And at the time, what made it interesting, too, is that Atari was insinuating that the VCS was going to be a console that was going to be in line with, like, the 8th gen consoles, like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Then we found out the specs. It was a bottom-of-the-barrel dual-core Ryzen processor there, 8 gigs of RAM. And it was literally just like those small form factor PCs that you get that you're lucky if you could do spreadsheets on them without them lagging. Maybe it was a teeny tiny step above that. I remember Atari was showing off the VCS and they were showing Overwatch 2 running on there at 720p, low settings and running around 30 FPS. Ooh, wow. Let me just spend $400. That's how much the all-in bundle was that came with an old school Atari controller, a modern controller, and the system. That's how much it was. Now you could get it a lot cheaper. Gee, I wonder why. But $400 PS5 digital money to run Overwatch at 720p. It'll look like it does on the Nintendo Switch. Maybe the Nintendo Switch version would look better. That was their modern VCS that was going to compete with the other big boys. They almost had the same mindset as the Intellivision. Hey, if we make it pricier, it'll seem like it's just as good. How'd that work out for Tommy? But at least I could say this. The VCS actually came to market, and you could buy it at a Best Buy right now. Don't do that. If you want to buy one just to have it as a collector's item, buy it from Atari. It's a lot cheaper. But at least it showed up.
You blew it.
But at least it showed up to store shelves, Tommy. How'd the Amico work out that you were talking so much crap about Atari? They have no vision. They don't know what they're doing with the console. Hey, Tommy, can I go to Best Buy right now and buy an Amico? I'll wait. But even though it came to market and it was nowhere near the train wreck that the Intellivision Amico was, there was still controversy around the Atari VCS. Like, they showed Tempest 4000 running on there, even though the developer wasn't officially on board with the game yet. Like I said, they made promises that the system would be a lot more powerful. When they were at trade shows and showing off hardware, the hardware was just like molded prototypes for the controllers and weren't working. And when Atari was grilled by journalists, they actually tried to defame the journalists. Gee, does this sound familiar? It's like a softcore version of what happened with the Amico. And that's it. They were hoping that nostalgia would make people be stupid enough, which I was. I didn't buy it for nostalgia. I bought it for morbid curiosity. To go out and spend that money, and they had nothing to back up with it. It's just, yeah, you could put Windows on it and have a really unique looking home theater PC, but why would you have spent $300 or $400 for that? Go buy the... You're better off buying the Liberace Treasure Box machine. I made a video on this. You should go check it out. And putting like an RX 6400 in there, and it would be a hell of a lot better home theater PC. You could even do some good gaming on there, AAA gaming. I'm eventually going to make a video doing that. That'll be the part 2 of my original video.
Good.
Well, just like I think everybody expected, Atari is discontinuing the VCS because no one wants it. Why the hell would you? This comes from techpowerup.com. I'll read it to you, then we'll discuss. What can only be summed up as one of the biggest failures when it comes to gaming consoles. I think that would actually fall in the Amico, but let's continue. The Atari VCS is coming to an end as Atari has decided to pull the plug. The company is said to have canceled all of its existing VCS manufacturing contracts, which means that after its current stock is sold out, interesting to see how long that lasts because no one's looking for this thing, it's unlikely that the company will make any more VCS consoles. The company is offering its own current stock at a 20% discount to anyone that would be interested in throwing away their money, like me. I actually bought another one, a more expensive version from Best Buy, which I'm going to bring back, and I bought it for much cheaper from Atari's website, and then I'm going to review it. Why? Because I can. And people will actually watch it now because they'll be curious because now it's dead. Continuing on, Atari's revenue from sales of the VCS and its accessories dropped from 2.3 million euros last year, which is, I have it converted right here, about over 2.4 million US dollars, to an abysmal 0.2 million euros this year, which equates to about a little over 200,000 US dollars. So it's dropped. The revenue from the VCS, which is a surprise to no one, dropped like a rock. That is a drop in revenue of 92% based on Atari's latest earnings report. Maybe they should have hired Soulja Boy and they would have never been in this pickle that they're in. This suggests that the company went from selling around 1 million units to selling around 10,000 units. Because why the hell would you buy an Atari VCS over an Xbox Series S or a PlayStation 5 digital? Why would you? Yes, they're right. You might as well just take that $300 or $400 and just wipe between your butt cheeks. Wipe. Take that $100 bill and just go, just clean your hole. It would be way more worthwhile than buying an Atari VCS. Atari is apparently planning on launching new games based on its intellectual property, as well as getting into NFTs in the future, because how is that? Really? Oh my God. That's because, yeah, that'll work. Everyone's just clamoring for NFTs right now. It's not like the entire crypto market is imploding right in front of our eyes. That'll make you money. Stop with NFTs. I never want to hear about NFTs again. No one cares about NFTs. Trump couldn't even sell NFTs. Continuing though, in addition to potentially licensing its brand to third parties for new hardware products, it would appear that history is repeating itself when it comes to Atari's success, and not in a good way, as the company had a net loss of 5.4 million euros this year, which comes out to, with my calculator, over 5.7 million US dollars. Atari is not doing well. Stop making retro consoles. Stop. Unless you're doing something like what Analog's doing. I have the Super NT, the Mega SG. Those are phenomenal products. I think I'm gonna splurge and get myself an Analog Pocket. Just no one wants it. It's been tried over and over and over again, and just crowdfunded consoles mostly in general. Now there's companies like 1X Player and Ioneo that use crowdfunding and GPD, but they have a proven track record and their products hit retail. But when you go all the way back to the Ouya, we're going to do something different. The Coleco Chameleon, you want all your games on cartridges again, so they can't get updates and they could permanently be with bugs in them, and developers are just going to clamor to make games for a niche product that's not going to really make them any revenue. We need to all of these retro consoles, they're retro for a reason. They were in the past for a reason. Then you had Tommy, the scam artist Tellerico. Families want to be together again. Everyone's playing games online, but that's because they want to, Tommy. That's because they want to. The reason the industry went in that direction is because people wanted it to go in that direction. That's what the consumer wanted. Don't you think if everyone still wanted to just play games in their living room, they would just choose to do it? Because there are games on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series S, PS4, and all the consoles that you could play that are family oriented. But the times have changed, and if people want to play those family games, they're there. Not to go off on another rant about the Amico again, but how many more of these products do we need to friggin' fail before we realize they're in the past for a reason? Now, could have Atari made the Atari VCS better and more capable? And maybe then it would have been something that would have been more worthwhile, and maybe the price should have been cheaper too, and not inflate the price for nostalgia reasons. Possibly it could have had a niche market, but no. And look, for everyone out there, look, I bought it at discount because we're finally going to do a video because it died. But unless you're a collector who has to have everything, as someone who owns another one, and I sent my editor one because we were planning on doing the video and now we're going to, there's no reason to get it. It's literally just an underpowered PC that's meant to run Windows and spreadsheets. And they tried to flip that for an insane price point and get you to buy it because it looked like an Atari VCS. We need to stop falling for this stuff. We need to stop trying to sell stuff on nostalgia. But if someone thinks there's a buck that can be made, I'm sure there'll be another Coleco Chameleon some years from now. Mark my words. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.